Hi guys, today I create a new reaction of top 1 possible third person. It's carnivals and I might actually use it. So please it.
With hundreds of free-to-play MMOs to choose from, all of them asking for your time and your money, it's often very difficult to actually pick the right one. Since this genre usually demands weeks, sometimes even months or years of constant attention, you just really can't afford to pick the wrong one. One of the most important factors to consider is the population of an MMO in question. You have to make sure the game isn't a ghost town so that you'll always find players to interact with, battle, and group with. That's why we've made some research and, along with our own ideas about the topic, created this top 10, where you'll find 10 highly populated games, as well as a few more suggestions. We decided to leave some older games out of the picture. RuneScape, for example, requires a subscription to fully be enjoyed, while others, such as MapleStory, are still populated, but we doubt most of you really want to try it in 2015. Finally, we're not judging this on an always inflated register player count, but more on the concurrent players. With that being said, let's begin.
FreeMMOstation.com.
Yeah, there's no hiding the fact that ArcheAge had one of the worst launches ever seen in MMO history. It was almost enough to actually kill the game entirely, but during the next few months, things have slowly but surely been improving, and ArcheAge ultimately got a little bit closer to the sandbox MMORPG it was expected to be. Yeah, while many still hate it based on their initial impressions, ArcheAge has now found a special place among many players, and it's becoming a very healthy MMORPG, with plenty to do, many players to interact with, and a PvP aspect that some players love to death. This is a good place to start if you like your MMOs deep and sometimes visually stunning, but make sure that you can endure some bugs and have patience with maybe some other issues that might be present. Yeah, it's kind of weird to think that free-to-play sci-fi third-person shooters weren't exactly a big thing before Warframe came around. It's also really cool to think that Digital Extremes actually put effort into delivering a great game and not just have a cash grab fest like so many other shooters out there. This is a game that delivers style in spades, with the whole ninjas in space concept actually going way beyond the silly idea and turning out to be really quite compelling. With plenty of content, regular updates, and top-notch quality overall, even if a bit grindy, Warframe managed to attract a large player base in very little time. So if you're looking for a co-op shooter, this is your surefire bet. Now, we still haven't forgotten that Star Wars: The Old Republic didn't have an easy life when it launched as a subscription-based MMO. Luckily, the move to free-to-play was swift, and this Bioware game has seen a clear improvement in its player base since then. In fact, it is now in a very healthy stage, as Electronic Arts has already acknowledged, and this is only bound to get much better with the new Star Wars movie premiering December 2015. If you're a fan of the saga and still haven't played for some reason, we recommend you begin considering it, since you'll want to be ready for whatever content update the game is surely going to get after the movie releases. TERA is one of the biggest action MMORPGs out there, and the support that it's been getting, especially during 2015, is kind of a guarantee that there's always going to be something to see or do. This year has seen the release of new dungeons, the new Gunner class, battlegrounds, guild-focused content including sky castles, and there's plenty more to come. This is a great game, and the regular flow of new content makes it a pretty freaking safe bet for those who are looking for a new MMO, and that's going to last for a long time. TERA is here to stay, and it's only getting better by the day. A new class with mechanical arms is most likely coming in a few months too, so stay tuned. Team Fortress 2 isn't a spring chicken anymore, guys, but we decided to include it here because it's constantly one of the most played free-to-play games on Steam, and it's still a great choice for any new player interested in a fun, addictive shooter. This one is still so good and so current that Blizzard is now trying to take a piece of that cake with the somewhat similar Overwatch, which we have to admit is looking quite good and also chock full of style. We doubt it'll have so many players as Team Fortress 2, maybe, or now that we think about it, as many hats. Hi-Res Studios made quite a gamble when it decided to enter the MOBA battleground with a game that played substantially different from the rest. Instead of the usual top-down view, the choice of a third-person camera made SMITE play it more like an action game, and thus requiring a different set of skills that many League of Legends players weren't used to. Having a roster of gods also stirred some controversy, and the frequent new skins that turn the deities into completely different and goofy characters are bound to keep doing so. However, this risk paid off and then some, with the game becoming a strong name in the esports arenas and the first true alternative to Dota 2 and League of Legends. When Blizzard announced HearthStone, Heroes of Warcraft, the entire world laughed and scorned. Now, not many months later, most of those are already addicted to it. This is an online card game that was released to show other card games just exactly how it's done. It's not just the Warcraft lore behind it, it's mostly the fun and addicting aspects of it that managed to bring millions of players to the game. Hearthstone is so big right now, and it's growing at such a scary pace that Blizzard is almost surely gonna bet on other small-scale projects in the future. It is already inspiring other big studios to do the exact same, such as Bethesda with its upcoming card game, The Elder Scrolls Legends. If this works, it shouldn't be long before we get a Fallout card game. Now that we think about it, a Fallout card game would be kind of awesome. This cheap Asian stuff, as World of Tanks was arrogantly dismissed by many big publishers before becoming a colossal hit, is still growing at a steady pace and shows no sign of slowing down, crushing everything in its path. It's a niche game, but that is one of its strengths, as the competition was virtually non-existent, and whatever is coming now, such as Armored Warfare, has a long way to go before it can even make a dent on it. This is a game with a huge player base, and is often called the Counter-Strike of tanks, so if you like your shooters tactical, you won't have any trouble finding a team here. There was no way that Dota 2 wasn't going to be a huge success. After all, with the original Dota creator and Valve working on it, it was always bound to get millions of players on its MOBA goodness. This is, of course, regularly one of the most played games on Steam, and it's always growing, always getting new players. Dota 2 managed to have over 1,200,000 players simultaneously, which is both impressive and a little bit scary. But does it reach the population heights of our number one game? We have to say that we highly doubt it. Man, that game is. If there's a game out there that everyone and their moms is playing, or at least tried to do so, that game is League of Legends. There's really no escaping the juggernaut that Riot Games has created. It's everywhere, and it has defined what a MOBA should look like and play like. Taking its lessons from the few that came before, yes, the community in this is huge, and if you're actually not playing it, you probably know a friend or two that is hooked on it. One word of warning though, this is far from the easiest game to join. So, you'd better grow yourself a really thick skin and brush up on your MOBA glossary and tactics before you try your luck here. So that was it, that was our top 10 most populated free online games, and we know guys, we had to leave out a few titles, but here's a few more suggestions. Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's new MOBA, is actually getting a lot of players, so you could also check that game out. Path of Exile, the brilliant free-to-play Diablo alternative, is also sporting a very, very healthy population. 11 million players overall at this time, yeah. So finally, we have War Thunder as well, is getting a huge amount of attention from many aerial combat enthusiasts as well as tank warfare fans. But those are our picks, guys. Please let us know in the comments which games you're playing happen to feature a really huge, ginormous, amazingly big player base.
If you like my video, so please subscribe the channel and share with your friends. And here's my title, Arms to Grow. Please